Today I'm going to share with you how to make an incredibly easy classic quiche with a flaky pastry and a decadent filling. Hi, you're watching Plating It with Wendy, where I share with you recipes which impress with ease. With Mother's Day just around the corner, this quiche is going to be an excellent addition to your meal. I know you're going to love this one, so let's get started. Let's start by making the savory pie crust. For this I'm going to be using 2 1/4 cups of all-purpose flour, 1 teaspoon of salt, 3/4 cups of unsalted butter, and I've cubed it so that it's easier to incorporate it with the flour. Now I'm going to use a fork and just give this a good mix so that the salt and the all-purpose flour gets well mixed together, and also that the butter gets a light coat of the all-purpose flour. You could now start mashing the butter down with the fork itself, but I'm going to use a pastry cutter and mash it down. You could even do this with your fingers, but then the heat of your fingers might make the butter melt too fast. A lot of recipes you'll find that they use the food processor to do this, but I just feel the old-fashioned way is better. You can get a better flaky crust doing it this way. Occasionally you want to take the fork and just clean the pastry cutter. Now when the mixture looks like this is when you want to stop. You're going to take the flour and butter mixture and now rub the butter between the palm of your hands so that gives a nice flaky crust when it bakes. Don't overdo this because otherwise the heat from your hands is going to melt the butter. We're going to bring the dough together by adding some cold water to it. I've taken a bowl of cold water and added some ice cubes in it to keep it chilled. And I'm going to put about 3 tablespoons of the water first and then add some more as I go, and I think it's necessary. Bring it together with the fork. I'm going to add some more water because it still needs more water to come together. I will put it down in the description below exactly how much of water I have added. Now that our dough has almost come together, I'm going to put it down onto the countertop and I'm going to bring it all together nicely and form a nice dough. Now let's bring the dough together using the parchment paper to help us. Now that the dough has come together, I'm going to put it into a plastic wrap and refrigerate it for 30 minutes so that the butter gets a nice chance to freeze again. While the pie dough is chilling in the fridge, let's prepare the filling for the quiche. For that I'm using 1 shallot. I'm going to mince it as fine as I can. And I'm going to mince up 1 garlic clove. I'm using 6 white mushrooms. You could use any mushrooms that you like, and I'm going to cut it up really fine. To this we're going to add 2 handfuls of baby spinach and 8 slices of ham, which I'm going to cut down into small pieces. Actually, this is like a blank canvas. You can put whatever you want into your quiche. To a heated skillet, I'm going to add 1 tablespoon of butter and let it melt down. And to that I'm going to add the minced shallot and the garlic. Now let's cook this down till the shallots sweat and the raw flavor of the garlic goes away. Now that the shallots have turned translucent and the garlic has cooked down, we're going to add the chopped mushrooms. And the spinach. It might look a lot right now, but it's all going to wilt down. We're going to season it with salt, but a little later, because if you put salt right now, you're going to get a lot more water coming out of the spinach and the mushrooms. Now you can season it with salt, about half a teaspoon or less may be okay. I'm just going very easy with the salt because we're going to put cheese into this too. As soon as the spinach has wilted and the mushrooms have cooked, we're going to take the skillet off the heat. I'm emptying the mushroom and the spinach mixture into the sieve so that all the excess liquid can drain into the bowl. This will help our quiche to set well. Our pie dough has chilled long enough in the refrigerator. Now let's roll it out and line the quiche dish. Got to put a little flour on the surface where you're going to be rolling it out. Make a light dent in the middle so it's easier to start rolling it out. You've got to be very light when rolling this. Don't put too much pressure. When rolling it out, roll it in a circular shape and roll it till you reach about the thickness of a coin. Now let's line our quiche tray with the rolled out dough, and for this I'm using a loose bottom tray. If you don't have one, you can always use a pie dish too. A good technique would be to roll the dough on your rolling pin, because that makes it easier to release it onto the pie dish. Now we're going to lift it up and make sure it goes down into the corner. And I'm going to pinch out a little bit from this side, any side you can use. And I'm going to use this, so I'm going to go around pressing it so we get a good indentation of the quiche dish. And we're just going to use my knife and level it out and cut off the excess. This extra pastry dough, you don't need to throw it out. Put it in a Ziploc bag and keep it in your refrigerator, and it can be used at any time you want. We've not put any egg in it, so there's nothing to fear, nothing's going to get spoiled in it. Using a fork, I'm going to make some holes now in the base of the pie crust, because when we bake it, we don't want it to come up and puff up. Now let's put a plastic wrap on the pie crust and pop it into the refrigerator for 30 minutes one more time. Keeping the quiche crust in the refrigerator has given a chance for the butter to firm up again, and now it's going to give us a nice flakiness to the crust. I'm now going to blind bake the crust, and for that I'm going to be using the same parchment paper we used earlier. I'm going to crush it up so that it's easier for it to take the shape of the crust. I'm going to fill this up with some semolina because I do not have any pie weights or beans in the house, but the beans and the pie weights would definitely be a better option. Try to fill as much as you can into it and get it into the edges, because we want to keep the crust down while we're blind baking it. We do not want it to bloat up. I put the quiche tray into another baking sheet, and I'm going to now put it into the oven 350 degrees Fahrenheit for about 15 minutes. We're going to take out the parchment paper with the semolina and put the crust back into the oven so that the base of the crust bakes, and we're going to keep it for about 5 to 10 minutes. We're going to fill the quiche with a nice custard. For that we're going to use 4 eggs. We'll just break those up first. And to that I'm going to add 1.5 cups of heavy cream. Heavy cream is going to give it a nice rich taste, and it also helps to set the custard. Let's season it with a little salt, just a little, because we're going to be adding cheese to it. Some freshly ground pepper and some freshly grated nutmeg. Just give that a good whisk. Now to the exciting part, let's build the quiche. I'm going to use some of the spinach and mushroom mix to put down first as the first layer. This way you can make sure that all your fillings get well distributed. And I'm going to put some of the ham. I've grated 1/2 cup of Gruyere cheese, 1/2 cup of cheddar, and 1/2 cup of Parmesan cheese, and I'm going to use some of it to layer onto the quiche. The Gruyere gives a lovely sharp flavor. Now let's spoon some of the custard in, and this is going to help to bind all the filling together. Now we're going to finish this off with a sprinkle of some Parmesan cheese. I'm not using all that I grated, just a little. Just for a little kick of spice, I'm going to sprinkle some chili flakes on the top. And because we love to impress, a sprinkle of parsley. Now let's pop this delicious baby back into the oven, 350 degrees Fahrenheit, for about 35 minutes, or till the center of the quiche has set and turned golden brown. Wow, this looks really delicious. Now we're going to let it cool for about 10 minutes and the quiche will also settle down. So that it gets a chance to cool a little faster, I'm going to take it out of the quiche tray. Now for the big reveal. The crust is so nice and flaky. Quiche is my favorite dish, so I'm really excited to give this a taste. The crust is so nice and flaky and so well baked, and the center, the filling, is so creamy and delicious. And I can actually get the taste of the Gruyere cheese. It's giving a lovely sharp flavor to the filling. If you're new to my channel or haven't subscribed already, what are you waiting for? Subscribe and hit on the bell icon to get a notification every time I upload a new video. If you enjoy watching my videos, don't forget to give me a big thumbs up and leave me your comments below. Follow me on Facebook and Instagram. The information is in the description below. Thanks for watching. See you soon.